Hi, friend. Thanks for joining me for the next few minutes as my guest and I talk about overcoming the mountains in your life. My guest will share their story of God's move in their life, and I will throw in some wisdom along the way also. Sit with a cup of coffee and listen, or take me on your journey. I'm here for you. This is Moving Mountains with Melissa Montana. Hi, and welcome to Moving Mountains with Melissa Montana. So excited today. I have a dear friend on who is extremely talented. A lot of people know her work, but I don't think a lot of people realize how fabulous she is in person. So I'm so glad to have her on with me today. We're talking with Denise Hunter. She's an artist and author, and I say artist because when you're a writer, you are an artist. Maybe not in drawing, but she's creating words that impact lives and in a unique way. It's not devotionals, but in her writings, she can use the gift of her writing, her talent, to be able to share faith along the way. So I can't wait to talk more about what she's doing in her life and her journey, as God has also been moving mountains in her life and bringing some great victories. So Denise Hunter, I'm so glad you're here today, sister. How are
Melissa, you are too kind. Thank you for having me.
So much fun. We've been talking about doing this for a while.
We have.
I know I've had you on the air with me. I know you've spoken at events and some gatherings, and I know that you're known all over the nation and around the world when you're a writer. So would you tell us, like, what kind of books do you write? Where's your inspiration? And we'll dig deeper.
Sure. So I write a Christian fiction. It's more romance than anything, but I have women's fiction elements in there also. I like to deal with issues that people have usually from childhood, and that they're trying to work out and resolve through relationships with others.
How did you get on this track of writing romance and keeping it wholesome, which thank you very much, that we can have writings that are wholesome and entertaining, and you've even had people say that they've inspired them in their faith, right?
Yeah, so it's a great pleasure to write in the world of Christian fiction. Yeah. I have the opportunity to write and the freedom to write what I want to write from my Christian worldview. It's a tremendous opportunity, and I'm very grateful.
That's so great. Where did this start? I know you talked about when you were a mom, you still are a mom, with little ones. How did that come about?
So I had been wanting to write a novel for a little while by the time I was in my early 20s, but I got married at 20.
Oh my.
I was in college full time, and then I started having kids, and things got really crowded.
Yes.
My husband traveled 4 days a week,
my.
and so I was kind of single momming it through that time, and I just kept pushing the writing dream to the back burner. Didn't have the time, or felt I didn't have the time.
Sure.
And then the day came where my grandfather I was told that he was going to pass away soon.
Oh.
So I traveled, my husband and I traveled. It's about a 3-hour drive to go see him. And I watched him. It's very memorable to me. I can still see him lying on that bed, and I was sitting in a chair bedside, just watching him breathe. He was unconscious at the time. And I was just feeling like God brought to my mind how he had used my grandfather. My grandfather had led more people to the Lord than anyone I know to this day. He was so evangelical.
Wow.
Just so committed and so wholeheartedly believed in the gospel of Christ. And so I started feeling convicted on the way home, and I told my husband as we were driving that I have put this writing dream on the back burner, and God is really telling me to make time for it.
Wow.
And I didn't know if it would ever get published. I didn't know if I had any talent or skill whatsoever. And it was really just an act of faith to sit down and write it.
Yes.
I wrote during my children's nap times. I had 2 boys at the time. And those were, if you're a mom, you know that those nap times are like precious, sacred hour.
Yes, they are. Yes, whenever you can get it in.
Yes. So I devoted that time to writing. And God it's like the story of the manna, or the bread, the fish and the bread. He just took that little bit that I gave and magnified it.
And so growing up, you weren't like writing all the time? Were you that kid in class where you wrote and did reports and you loved it?
I don't remember ever writing fiction in school. Not until college did that happen. But in high school, I did write some pretty angsty poetry. I was a teenage girl.
Of course. I'd love to go back and read that. Do you still have it?
I don't have any of it, and that's a shame. Although it might be a blessing too.
It might be. It might be good you can't. Yeah.
But in college, I took my first creative writing class, and I remember writing the first fiction short story that I was assigned to write, and I loved it. It was easy.
Okay.
It was easy, and I was
that means
surprised.
you're gifted if it came easy and you weren't trying. You know, it was easy for you.
I don't know. I got only a B+ on it, which I was kind of a perfectionist, so it wasn't an A. And also, the professor wrote something on there that vaguely hinted that maybe I had plagiarized it.
Oh, wow, really?
And so.
And did you?
No.
No, you didn't. Of course you didn't.
No, but I was very shy and quiet, and
of course.
Didn't even feel like I could go and say, "Hey, what's this?"
This isn't right. Yes.
So I just took it in, and felt a little bad about it, but also that joy of writing the story stuck with me.
Okay.
And that kind of flowed into the wanting to write a novel. I remembered loving writing that.
But I kind of like the story that it wasn't an A. And now you've got all of these books and you're very successful and God has blessed you in this. I think that's got to be our story, and there's something there for someone watching or listening that I don't think I'm doing it well enough, or I don't know if I'm good enough. Well, if God's in it and you're following your passion and dream, God will take up the rest. And you've got to have a learning curve, don't you think?
Yes.
We can't be perfect at the beginning.
No.
None of us are.
Oh, even now, my first drafts. I mean, I let Colleen Coble, my critique partner, read it, and then I let my editor read it. And thank God for editors, because they have such a fresh, clean perspective and can really enlighten me to what I missed the first time around. You never get it right the first time. And also, when I started writing, I thought that either you were a great writer or you weren't. I didn't know. It was a craft.
Come on.
It's a craft, and it takes practice. And what is it, like 10,000 hours of anything makes you a master at something? It takes time.
It does. There's a word right there, that it takes time. So that's what I want someone to get right now that feels like, gosh, I'm just not doing this well, or it's not working out well, or I want to be better at this. It takes time. How many books, as of us doing this right now, have you written?
I believe it's 48. My 48th book will come out. It might be my 47th. Will come out in the spring.
Okay, come on. If there was a crowd in here, we'd all be going like, what? Woo, let's go, Denise. I mean, that's incredible. 48 books. From a young lady that thought, I'm not sure if I'm good at this, and I got a B+ on my first paper. B+ is still good, though. Some people. It is. I mean, if you'd had a D, it would be a better story, but that's okay. You're kind of hoping you're going to say, I got a D, or they said I couldn't write at all. Like, no, but it's wonderful to hear that it's a journey, because all of us need to hear that. And I know that on the journey is where you learn. The destination will happen when it's supposed to happen. But the growth and the journey and the victory is in the journey, is traveling along the path and what we learn along the path,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Have you felt that?
Yes. Oh, God didn't tell me to get a book published. He told me to write a story.
There you go.
And that's all I did. I just wrote a story, and he took it and he did the rest. I never dreamed I would have a career or 46, 47 books. I never in my wildest dream did I dream that I would have that, much less the movies, which we'll probably talk about.
Yes, we are.
Because God did that too.
We're going to talk about that for sure. I mean, books alone, that many books. And you're not just putting out books and hoping people are reading them and buying them. They're successful. People love your books. I mean, Denise Hunter books are a blessing to a lot of people. And women that love this kind of writing, men do too, that want romance but don't want trash. So thank God they're not trashy. Can I thank you again for that?
That's actually coming back in vogue. The clean read is coming back in vogue.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there was the success of some explicit type books.
Terrible.
That proliferated probably around 10 years ago.
Yes.
And I think publishers just kept kind of pushing writers to write that. And readers are getting tired of it.
Good.
They're wanting a story, and they're not wanting all the explicit content.
So you're seeing that even
Absolutely.
in some of the conferences you go to and speaking to other authors, they're all noticing.
In the general market, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, where's one of your biggest markets? I mean, Fort Wayne here needs to know that you're here, and that's why I want to keep promoting you, because this is based in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But you have a following in the South, right?
I do. Christian fiction is
So
huge
cool.
in the South.
Oh, wow. Like what area?
All the southern
All of the
states,
South.
Georgia, North and South Carolina. Yeah, it's just really big in the South.
Come on, Southern friends. We love you. Thank you
Bible
for being
Belt,
supporting.
you know?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bible Belt. What is it that you wish people would know about what you're doing, what you're writing, how important it is to support something that's wholesome?
It is really important because it's got the message of faith in there, and it offered hope. And a lot of even general market books that are clean don't necessarily offer hope.
Yes.
And so I feel it's important. People need hope. My gosh, more
Yes,
now than
we all
ever. People need an escape right now.
Yes.
It's an honor to write something that will take somebody away from, hey, my husband's in cancer treatments right now, and it's absorbing, and thank you for writing a book that I can get lost in for a little while.
Amen.
That is just such an honor to provide the outlet for somebody.
So here's the thing. You and I have talked about this before, that there are other women that have dreams, and they have things they wish they could do. They don't feel like maybe they're able to or good enough. What is it? Because I think your story is so important to women that want to do something different, that's maybe not the same, maybe not up on a platform, but it's a dream they have. What would you say to them?
You know, if the Lord is leading you to do something, there's a reason for it.
Amen.
And it may be something that He wants to do in you. It may be something He wants to do through you.
Yes.
But He wants you to do it. So you try not to look at the big picture so much, but look at the first step that you can take. Make a plan and take a first step. You know, I sat down and I started writing a book, and I wrote on paper because I didn't even have a computer yet.
Well, back then we didn't do computers as much.
Yeah, it was the late 90s. I didn't even have a computer.
You had a notebook.
I had a notebook and I had a pen, and that's all I needed to get the paper down, to get the story down on paper. And so just take that first step. I didn't ever intend to have a career or 48 books or movies or anything. I didn't have it. I didn't look at any of that. God just told me to write a story, and so I wrote a story.
So step one is just start with that first step.
Yes.
Don't feel like, well, I've got to have the technology to, because this day and age is technology, that's why we're here. You know, we've got the means to do that, but you might not feel like I have all the equipment or have everything I need. Start with whatever's simple, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, start simple.
Yeah, and then let God bless that.
Yes.
So I've got a couple of directions I'm going to go with you, but since we've been talking about your books and movies, how in the world did that happen, that your book becomes a Hallmark movie and then another one? How did that happen?
Well, the short answer is God.
Thank you. Yes, it was all God.
The longer answer is that my publisher pitches stories, their books, to producers who they think might like to publish or to adapt the book into a movie. So one particular producer who produced Hallmark movies took a liking to my books, and she just produced one after another. So it ended up being three Hallmark movies.
Three Hallmark movies. And what are the names of them?
So the first was The Convenient Groom, and then A December Bride, and then Christmas on My Mind.
Oh my.
And my husband and I got to go on set for two of those, and it was so much fun. They offered us cameos in those two movies. So A December Bride and Christmas on My Mind, we got to have little cameos, and it was super fun.
I love watching it, and I'm like, wait, there's Kevin and Denise. They're in the background. I see them in the movie. So much fun. You and your husband, Kevin, on this journey. And I know that your husband's so proud of you.
He is.
I love watching that. How important has that been to you to have the support of your spouse? And he's a successful businessman too.
He is.
So it's not like he's riding on your coattails. He's already been in business, and then God brought this along. What's that been like? He
has blessed both of us so much. I can't even believe sometimes how much he's blessed us. It's just, I don't even have the words for it.
Yeah.
He's blessed Kevin's business.
Yes.
He has grown him as a person. I'm so proud of him, of the
Yes.
person that he's become. He's my biggest cheerleader, and
He
I
really
try to
is.
be his biggest cheerleader too. He comes home and he talks to me our work intersects only in one spot. We're so different.
I know,
He's
really
an
different.
extrovert. I'm
Yes.
an introvert.
Yes.
His interests are different. I mean, he's in home improvements. I write about home improvement, guys.
I know, that's right. I write stories about it, yeah.
But our businesses intersect only with marketing and advertising and that kind of thing. So we like talking about that together.
Because it's both business.
It
both
is.
guys, how do you get the word out? So you have common ground there.
It is. His is very locally focused, which makes it a little bit easier to get the word out.
Yes.
Mine's a little more difficult because it's not local, and it's just hard to even make a splash in the bucket, you know, when you're talking nationwide.
Yes.
But yeah, we have that in common.
That's so great. So I want to get to you personally a little bit, if you don't mind. I know that you've been on a journey for a long time, quite a while, with your health. And no one would know that looking at you because you're beautiful, you're talented, you go and do these things, and you're such a sweet spirit. I just love that about you. I love who you are. But no one would realize that you've been on this incredible journey trying to get your health back together, and it takes you down sometimes. What is going on with you?
Okay, so I had an episode about, I guess it was about 17 years ago, where all the energy just drained out of my body. I just, within the span of 2 minutes, like all of it just gone, just exhausted.
Suddenly?
Suddenly.
Wow.
And I went to the Ready Med, and they told me I had mono. So I thought, you know, 2 or 3 months of this, great.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 months came and went, and it didn't go away. And it just continued. And I was 24/7 exhausted. Like, you have the flu kind of exhausted, where you have to drag yourself up just to go to the bathroom and come sit down. I had 3 boys at the time.
Oh my goodness, so hard.
They were in middle school and high school, and you know, I was running them around to all these different things. I was still trying to get my writing done, and 24/7, I just felt awful. It took me about 1.5 years to get the diagnosis. I have adrenal fatigue.
Wow.
And it's been a long journey. There's no quick fix for adrenal fatigue. It's a lot of self-care.
Okay.
A lot of figuring out what your triggers are, what makes you exhausted, and doing more of what makes you feel better, and less of what makes you tired.
Okay.
So stress is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody's got things that they're dealing with, you know? I mean, everybody does. Slowly over the last 17 years, it's gotten better and better. I feel 100% a lot of the time. I mean, which is a huge blessing.
Yes. Is food a part of that? Is
Yes.
that involved with the
Yeah.
kind of food you eat? I know
It
stress
is.
is a big one.
Yes,
Yeah.
stress is a big one. I have other triggers, like being out in the cold for long periods, bad for me.
really?
Standing on my feet. I can walk a lot, but
Yeah.
standing
Standing still.
Yes. So over time, I found that anything that stresses me out or stresses my body, and food is part of that, because, you know, the wrong foods can stress your body.
So true.
So any like extra thing that puts any stress on my body, allergies, illness, anything like that can trigger it.
Is there anything that someone can do to prevent that? Or is it just something that hits you? I don't understand how some of these illnesses happen.
I don't know that they totally understand it either, but stress is a big one that they say, because it's your adrenal glands.
Yes.
And your adrenal glands, when they overfunction, it's bad for them. They end up breaking.
I hated watching you go through this and know that you have, no one knows, because looking at you, you can't tell. But what would you say to someone that's going through chronic fatigue, chronic illness? It's overwhelming, and I know it becomes a way of life and you have to deal with it. But even though it's hard for you, do you have some words of wisdom?
I do. So a lot of people have physical health issues that are chronic, or that are not automatically noticeable. People don't see it, and they don't necessarily understand. And sometimes even, you know, the people in your family or your closest friends aren't going to understand what you're going through.
Because you look good.
Right, you do.
You know, you look like you're okay. What are you complaining about?
Right, you're not limping. I mean,
right.
you're not in bed with,
Yes.
you know, tissues and hot tea.
Yes.
You have to still keep going with your life, because this isn't a temporary 2-week illness. It's the long haul. It's a marathon.
Yes.
So you have to take care of yourself. Nobody is going to take care of yourself like you will take care of yourself.
Yes.
Don't be guilted in to doing things that you don't have the energy or the strength to do.
Come on.
Look out for yourself. Nobody is going to understand exactly what you feel like, and that's okay because you understand what you feel like.
Yes.
And you can take care of yourself. You can take control of it. Nobody cares about your health like you do.
Right.
No doctor is going to care about your health as much as you do. So do your own research and figure it out on your own. Take questions to your doctor, print things out that you read online, and nobody's going to care as much as you do about getting to the bottom of your health crisis.
So like fight for yourself.
Absolutely. Be your own advocate.
Be your advocate and talk to other people that are going through things. Have you found other people that have suffered with the same kind of debilitating illness?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That can be such a big support for you because they're going through the same thing that you're going through. They might have tips if they've done it longer, or they've had epiphanies about it, or found things that are helpful. Strangely, one of the weirdest things that I found that helps me is salt water.
Oh, really?
There's something about the adrenals and not enough salt in your body to hold on to water.
Yes.
And so if you don't have, you're dehydrated if your body doesn't hold on to water.
So does that mean drinks that have water in them, like some of the sports drinks and
I
stuff?
literally carry a packet of salt with me.
Wow.
And put it in water if I start feeling.
Okay.
So figure out those little things for yourself. Do a lot of research. Get on, Facebook has a lot of groups. Get on a group that has the same issues that you do. You might learn something.
Good idea.
Some little nugget that helps you through life.
Yes, that's so good. That's your mountain you've been dealing with. And so because of God, you've been able to move this mountain.
Oh, yeah. He's been something else. He's been awesome.
Faithful. He's so faithful.
He is.
You've been an encouragement just to talk about your story, and somebody is listening or watching this and saying, I've been struggling also, and I just needed to hear that. So thank you for that.
Of course.
Before we end, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Oh, wow.
I know Jesus does, but I mean,
absolutely.
In life.
My kids bring me joy. My grandkids.
Yes. Oh, they're so cute. I see that on Facebook.
They just fill my bucket.
Yeah.
I love to read. I know that's no surprise. I love getting immersed in a story.
Okay.
Whether it's in a movie or in a book. Music is, I don't know, it takes you to another place.
Sure.
In your head. So I really enjoy listening to music also.
Well, I enjoy you.
Oh, thank you.
You're adorable. Thank you so much for your time. All the books, and I'm saying if Denise Hunter's written a book, you want to make sure that you're seeing it, you're reading it, and passing it on to somebody else. My mom is now a fan of yours.
Oh, wonderful.
Since she's known, I've been friends with you and talking to her, she's like, I'm reading all of her books. They're so great. So, so thankful for you and appreciate your testimony. And I think, before we get too serious, one last thing. What's your favorite dessert?
That's so hard because I really have a sweet tooth.
Do you?
I do. The brand's sundaes are hard to beat. I like dark chocolate and raspberry.
Yes, ma'am. My favorite. Brand dark chocolate raspberry. Yeah, that's it. Well, appreciate you so much and wish you God's many blessings, favor on your life. And I can't wait for what's yet to come because I don't think you're done.
Oh, thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, you're ready to do more, right?
I am. I hope God's not done with me yet.
He's not done with you. We want you around for a long time. Denise Hunter, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening today. I hope that encourages you and lets you know that try something new. Trust God for something new. Don't worry if it's not good enough, you don't feel like it's good enough, because God will take up the slack. He cares about you. He loves you. And so try something new. And then if you're going on a journey, a health journey that's been a real difficult challenge, trust God on that also. Ask questions, find out, advocate for yourself, and know that God loves you deeply and He cares for you. Hey, if you want to know more about Denise's books, it's on my link, Moving Mountains with Melissa Montana. Check that out and find out more about her. Just look her up, Google her. I'm so glad to be here with you. It's a pleasure, and I hope it's a blessing to you. God cares about you. You are very special. Love you, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this segment. There are many more to come. I hope you'll make this a regular spot in the months ahead to find inspiration and a bold faith to trust God. I want to thank my friends at Windows, Doors, and More in Fort Wayne, Indiana for their support of this podcast. I love that their values align with the messages heard right here on Moving Mountains.